Hey guys, Eric Rodebois, EPGD Attorneys at Law. So we've been getting more and more of the ADA compliance website lawsuits. So let's break that down, okay? ADA stands for the Americans with Disabilities Act. This is a law that was passed in the early 90s, and it created a whole new category of protections for people with disabilities. And how did they do that? They wrote some laws. And what happened next? Lawyers found ways to start filing lots of lawsuits. So unfortunately, this is an area of law that is taken advantage of by unscrupulous plaintiffs and unscrupulous lawyers. And what they do is they do what we call, colloquially, the drive-by lawsuit. And so the drive-by lawsuit, and sometimes it's just demand letters, and so they will literally send a demand letter to hundreds of companies at the same time. And it's cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. If they're really good, they've got a macro set up on Microsoft Word. They upload a spreadsheet with names, first name, last name, business name, email address, business address, and it auto-populates, and it might even print out the mailing labels and send them all out together. All right, and so when I started my law firm back in 2013, we saw a whole bunch of cafes and bakeries where they were getting sued because the counters were the wrong height, or the wheelchair accessibility, or the handicap accessibility in the bathroom. And so we were seeing these. And the problem was, it was that the plaintiffs weren't actually trying to fix anything. They were trying to get rich quick. And so a lot of mom and pops, a lot of little businesses who maybe weren't compliant with the law, and maybe they just didn't know, right? Or maybe they inherited the business, or it's a business that's been in business for a long time. And so most of the time, you ready for this? They just had to make an agreement to add a wheelchair ramp, or to fix the counter height, or to add a handlebar in the bathroom, and pay the lawyer. So the lawyers clearly saw this as a get-rich-quick opportunity. So what we've seen recently is American with Disability Act website compliance lawsuits. And so if you have a website and you're offering goods and services to the general public, there are certain laws that you need to follow with making sure that your website is handicap accessible. And by the way, I'm not an expert at this. My partner and a couple of our associates know a whole lot more about this than I do. But for example, there is actually software that can read a website to people that are blind. And so the software will read the website, and it'll literally have a description of every picture. And the problem is, if you don't have your website set up correctly so that the description is in there, when these websites are accessed by the software, it won't be able to describe the picture. And that is technically, potentially, a violation of this law. And so what we're seeing, particularly this one law firm, what I've heard, this is anecdotal, is that there's actually software that'll scrub the internet looking for businesses that don't have compliant websites, and then auto-populates the demand letter and then sends the demand letter out. And I just reviewed one 20 minutes ago, and it's funny. We haven't sued you yet, but we will. And all we need you to do is agree to fix your website and pay us some money, and we'll leave you alone. Right? So again, get rich quick. I don't know how they split that fee between the plaintiff and the actual lawyer. Listen, that's not the type of law that I wanted to practice when I went to law school. But since we are a business law firm and we're an entrepreneur law firm, we're actually defending a lot of these, many of these. In fact, I've seen the same law firm on the other side who's now sent these demand letters to 3 of my different clients. So if you're a business owner, what can you do? 2 things. Number 1, you should talk to your web designer and ask them the question, is my website ADA compliant? And if not, what do I need to do to make it ADA compliant? That's the first thing. Second thing, as always, if you get a demand letter in the mail and this comes from a law firm, don't ignore it. Pick up the phone, call somebody like me. Now, I might tell you it's a scam. I might tell you it's okay, you can ignore it, but at least do it eyes wide open. And by the way, the same goes with any other official correspondence. If you get letters from the IRS, not opening the letter is not going to make the problem go away, right? If you don't open the letter, you might be missing deadlines. And so, for example, a lot of these ADA compliant demand letters say, if you don't answer us by a certain time, and the fear and the risk is that if you miss that deadline and they call your bluff, then they filed the lawsuit, now you're in federal court, maybe across the country, maybe in a jurisdiction that you don't want to be in. And now any law firm that's willing to defend a federal lawsuit is going to ask for a big retainer, maybe more than $10,000. There's a little side note for that, but that's partly because in federal court, the judges a lot of times won't let the lawyers quit, right? So if your client stops paying you and you're like, Judge, I want to withdraw, the judge can say no. And the judge is like, nope, sorry, you're a lawyer. So guys, if you get these letters, if you have a website, if you have a business, this is stuff you need to be aware about. In one of my future videos, we're going to talk about the text messaging. So guys, once again, Eric Rodabois, EPGD Attorneys at Law.